In a time when Egypt was a land of wealth and oppression, the Hebrew people were enslaved under the Pharaoh's rule. Their days were filled with forced labor and suffering, but among them was a man destined to change the course of history: Moses. Since childhood, Moses was surrounded by mysteries. Born Hebrew, he was rescued from the waters of the Nile by the Pharaoh's daughter and raised as a prince, but he never forgot his roots. The call one morning, while tending sheep in the desert, Moses encountered a burning bush that was not consumed. He approached, and there God called his name. The voice boomed, powerful and imposing. "Moses, I have heard my people's cry. Go to Pharaoh and tell him to free the Hebrews." Moses hesitated, questioning his eloquence and authority. But God gave him signs. His staff turned into a serpent, and his hand became leprous, only to be healed. Reluctantly, Moses accepted his mission, accompanied by his brother Aaron. The confrontation with Pharaoh upon arriving at the palace, Moses and Aaron requested the Hebrews' freedom. The Pharaoh, arrogant and indifferent, refused. "Who is this God that I should listen to his voice?" he challenged. Determined to show God's power, Moses began summoning the plagues. The initial plagues were terrible. The Nile's waters turned to blood, frogs invaded houses, lice covered Egyptian skin. The Pharaoh, in turn, hardened his heart, refusing to relent. With each plague, the suffering increased, and Pharaoh's resistance grew more senseless. The intensification of the plagues continued. A swarm of flies invaded Egypt, disease killed livestock, and painful ulcers appeared on Egyptians. The land was ravaged by a hailstorm, and locusts devoured what was left. Despite all the suffering, Pharaoh did not yield. The last and most devastating plague was announced: the death of the firstborn. God ordered the Hebrews to mark their doors with lamb's blood, so the angel of death would pass over them. That night, Egypt's lament echoed, and Pharaoh finally gave in. The liberation with the death of his firstborn, Pharaoh surrendered. The Hebrews left in haste, taking Egypt's treasures with them, a sign of divine liberation. Moses led his people through the desert, guided by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. However, Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his army after them. Cornered at the Red Sea's edge, the Hebrews cried to Moses for help. With faith, he raised his staff, and the waters opened, allowing the people to cross on dry land. As the Egyptians followed, the waters returned, swallowing them. Mount Sinai and the Ten Commandments. After weeks of journeying, Moses and the Hebrews reached Mount Sinai. There, amid lightning and thunder, Moses ascended to meet with God. For 40 days and nights, he received divine instructions, including the Ten Commandments, a set of laws to guide the people in their new life.